or death. We gas ourselves up, but we short on breath. Talking about we eating, but who we really cooking. Dreaming about greens, but ain't nobody looking. No land, no acres, no seeds in the ground. When the hunger hits, who's gonna be around? We starving every day, and it just ain't the food. Feeding the hood garbage, got 'em acting a fool. We flossing with rides, stunting with chains, but these bars we spitting just bring more pain. We guilty as hell, preaching all these lies, selling debt to the kids, and we acting surprised. We commercialize the pain, broadcast the grief, tell the youth to hustle, but hide the beef. We glorify the trap, invite them to the flames, just like Reagan brought the crack on planes. Back in the 80s when the streets got soaked, my people, my brothers, all got choked. Reagan said no trades, but we know the deal. He left us in the dirt, man, that shit was real. I was just a shorty watching it unfold, old enough to see how we got sold. War on drugs, but it was war on us. Cops on our necks, no love, no trust. They labeled us thugs, beast on the block, made us kiss the pavement while they cleaned our clock. Prison became business thanks to Reagan's game. Free labor is the truth in America's name. Slavery's dead, man. That's just a word. Read the 13th Amendment, it's still absurd. They lock us in cages, serving time for life. Double digits for wisdom, cutting sharp like a knife. I'm here to say, the chains in the air, it's time we break free, start showing we care. No more flexing for nothing, no more selling out. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. And this morning, I had blood on the pavement, silent in the halls of power. But before we get into all that, I got independent music, and I will be playing Rashad Lee for the family, and I'll be right back.
Conversations with God, hold it together, but inside feel I'm falling apart. Sometimes the pressure be too much, patience wearing me out. I hear you haters loud and clear, ain't no reason to shout. I can't take you serious, I've been had a reason to doubt. I don't comprehend you boys' obsession with fishing for clout. No disrespect, but I feel them next, rappers been in the drought. Gotta take it back to rapping shit you was living, no doubts. No holds barred, niggas ain't fucking with my pedigree, nah. It might be lonely at the top, but I still eat with my dogs. Even though niggas like to gather just to speak on my flaws, I never blame them, I just look and then ignore all they calls. Remember days when I was dreaming to be who I am. Can share my pain a million ways, you still won't understand. Trust when I tell you God in my pistol is my only friend. How can they love me? They barely know me, it ain't making sense. Who do I call? Where do I run to? I've been risking it all. Sharing space with people I know that's only wishing I fall. Try to be humble, but my fans is only wishing I ball. Try to make sense of everything, hope God can keep me from falling. Yeah, I'ma keep going in. I gotta keep going in. I heard some niggas despised by the way I live my life, but these the people that ain't never heard the sacrifice. I give it all with the hopes that I'm gonna make it right, but when we good, I won't be home to see my kids at night. 2 a.m. and I'm up for the day. Strolling through comments, I see the loudest with nothing to say. Feeling like fuck it, make your assumption that's part of the game. When I see my people switching up, guess a part of me changed. I don't really recognize some people that I used to know. Ego wanna say I cut them off, but they was just a hoe. I done made believers out of people I won't get to know. Tell me my story, be helping out when they been feeling low. I cannot pretend if it ain't right to me. I ain't one for entertaining niggas for the life of me. If I turn my back on a nigga, I did it rightfully. Ain't no competition, I don't see no one inside of me. No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, I do this shit for my city, bro. I do this shit for my family, this shit bigger than me. Motherfuckers say they want what I got, but they don't even know why they want it. I wish I could say, I really wish I could say I seen this shit coming, bro. I was just doing me though.
Hey, that was Rashad Lee for the family. Um, damn, I want to get into yesterday. They had that gun violence work group, and Mr. Grughagen, I think that's how you say his name. Um, and I did spell it right, I believe, because I got it off their page or whatever. But I do believe that I think what he brought up about the mental health part. I'm not saying people can't be who they want to be, but I think therapy it can be a wonderful thing. And I'm somebody who is going through therapy. It started because of uh, court ordered for anger management, but going to a therapist, I believe has helped me in ways that I can't even really express. Because I'm having conversations with, I feel like people who aren't judgmental or, look at me in a weird kind of way or whatever, because I feel like a lot of people do. And a lot of black people aren't like me. You know what I'm saying? I feel like in America, just like this morning, and I'll talk about it tomorrow, I got my data requests back from the city of Rochester. And of course, a lot of it, they use some statutes to keep people quiet, to put out information. But I'm not giving this up. They gave me two names, CERT, I already knew about. And then the other one was some step forward uh, that I'm really going to look at, both of them. But I want to get into uh, Mr. Grughagen first. And I want to get into his. So he put in a document uh, that had more to do, not with gun control, it had more to do with uh, mental health services. And I know a lot of people don't really want to have that type of discussions, even though that I feel like we need to. We Here's the thing that I want to say, that most of the individuals in Minneapolis who have been shot this year are by people who shouldn't have them anyways. So why are we trying to make more laws and amendments and legislation when if we enforce the ones that are already there? You know what I'm saying? It's that you guys don't want to have. I'm not saying you guys as in like you people. What I mean is you voters. People don't want to get involved. That's the conversation I had with Matt this morning. Is I feel like a lot of people stand up for anything, but when it's time to stand up for something, you don't see very many people there. And that's the most fucked up part about all of this, is because people will stand up for anything, but when it's standing up for the actual not narrative, you don't see people around. You don't hear about Abdul, right? The teacher from North Minneapolis. You're not hearing about the other guy from the same school that were molesting black kids, and they went to that school to work there because it was easier. And that's what came out in court papers, because it was easier to access the children, because people don't care about them people. Not because they don't, I'm not saying that they care about black people, because they don't care about people in poverty. They don't. Let's be honest. And last night I went on Rev. I had a good in my eyes. I felt like I had a good conversation with Reverend Tim Christopher, and he put it out there. I like the whole Jacob Frey and Vital, and I get it. I honestly do get it, because I know a lot of people aren't ready for that. They were ready for it, to be honest, but in their minds, because they are so indoctrinated, or they're so stuck in their ways, or that hand feeds them so they don't want to bite it, they're comfortable still voting Democrat when they know in their hearts that's not how they were raised. We weren't raised like that. Let's be honest. We weren't raised to be this, and I'm not saying that people can't be free thinkers and be who you want to be, but the fact that we want to make legislation, or we're trying to make laws, ordinances, when they're already there, they just want to be included because they have a different label than everybody else, than what we already have. Man, woman, black, white, other colors. But now they want to be seen as a cat, dog. Some men want to be seen as women now. But people don't want to have conversations about that. In my heart, I don't really care what you are. I don't care what kind of label you have. I don't care what kind of color you are. I don't care what kind of thing your gender is. But because I don't want that shit in our public schools, now I'm homophobic. I'm transphobic. Instead, that I just don't want that shit taught to the kids. Because when I went to school, those aren't things that I learned about. You know what I'm saying? And now, looking into my community, I see a lot of kids who are in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, and they can't read. They can't do basic math. But they should be able to do those kind of things. But because we're, as a country, no child left behind. Let's be honest. On paper, a lot of these policies and legislation, they looked really good. But how they were enacted, no. It turned out really bad. So let me get into Mr. Grughagen. I think that's how you say their name. Because I know his daughter is running, Alicia. But yeah, this should be wild to me.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, committee members, and thank you for being on the committee to take a look at this issue. I would like to just start by saying, it was a terrible tragedy. When somebody dies of gun violence, it is a terrible tragedy. And I think we all agree we want to get to sound solutions to try to never have this happen again, especially to children. So I want to thank the medical personnel that worked on the children, the parents, the anguish they must have suffered. I just can't even have no words to express if it had happened to my children or something like that. So we need to have a robust discussion on this issue, because all of us, everybody in this room, and I think the majority of, or 99% of Minnesotans do not want this to happen again. So with that, I will start my testimony. We talked about different types of solutions here. I will start out with armed police officers in the school. I know that's reprehensible to some people, and I wish we weren't at that state, but I served on the school board for 16 years, and during those 16 years, we had not a shooting, but we had students doing violence to other students in the high school. Nobody came out of their classroom to stop it. No administrator did anything. And the result was at least one of those students wound up in the hospital. So we did pass a law based on the high school recommendation of putting a armed police officer in our school. And I got a lot of flack having my business downtown, I belong to Rotary, about that. And I think that was in February. Well, in April, Columbine happened. And there wasn't another word, okay? So and also a group of teachers didn't like that to start with. But in the end, after a year, all I got was accolades for having that armed police officer in the school. We didn't have another violent episode where somebody went to the hospital. So it was effective. And I would just ask the committee to think that through, because I think all of our schools need security. My understanding was non-public schools did ask for money for security when we had an $18 billion surplus. Unfortunately, for some reason, that was rejected, and maybe the committee can look into that. The other thing I would say is I have done quite a bit of research on these mass shootings, both when I was a school board and member and also here. And I do think if you do the research, sometimes these mass shooters look for gun-free zones.
Senator Gruenhagen, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're here to testify in your proposal relating to the article that you presented to us, and we are already over committee time.
Yep.
So,
but this is an important issue. Just let me, I'll be right to it.
If you can finish up your other comment in 30 seconds and go on to your proposal, please, and that's the only testimony we're going to be able to take.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I think you need to look into eliminating gun-free zones. We need to support the police. Some make mistakes and need to pay a consequence, but we should not defund the police and demonize them. Second thing, the article that Senator Latz referred to, I co-authored an article in 2019 for the Minnesota Physician. The co-author was, you can find it on the internet on one of my websites if you want to read the whole thing, but the co-author was Dr. Chris Foley. He was a lecturer at the University of Minnesota Pharmacological College. He has well experienced with the use of SRI drugs. And I'm going to read his exact quote, just a short paragraph. It says, the so-called SRI drugs, long in use for the management of depression and anxiety, he mentions Prozac, Zoloft, etc., in fact, have very little scientific basis for their actions. They are routinely given for anxiety, depression, particularly in children who suffer various types of post-traumatic stress disorder from abusive homes, injuries, medical conditions, and other factors. There is very little evidence that they are safe or effective on children. In fact, they are boxed with warnings regarding both homicidal and suicidal ideations. Think about that, members. On several of these drugs that are commonly used on children. A recent expose disclosed that a majority of mass shootings have been perpetrated by individuals taking these drugs. The breathtaking elements here is the utter lack of scientific scrutiny for safety and efficacy, particularly when given on a long-term basis, more than 6 months, end of quote. I also have a pharmacist with about 30 years of experience who sent me the warnings on these SRI drugs. And basically the warnings that I'm just summarizing, you can do your own research, the warnings say it produces suicidal and severe mood swings and aggression. And it should not be used on the majority of children. And yet, when I was on the school board, we were giving it out like candy. This needs to be looked into, okay? Because the person back here who said something has changed, in my opinion, this is one of the things that has changed. We're using these psychotropic drugs on minor children without due scientific evidence, with terrible warnings and side effects. And you can research Dr. Chris Foley. He was an expert on this. Secondly, in the case of the shooter, a judge has sealed the health records. So we cannot find out right now what medication he was actually on. And by the way, there's articles out there by the shooter. He was tired of being trans. I wish I was never brainwashed. New York Post.
All right, Senator Gruenhagen, we're going to have you finish your testimony and not go down that road, please.
I find it very disturbing that the committee doesn't want to hear a robust discussion with different perspectives, okay? And then I'll bring it on the Senate floor if I have to, okay?
You will be entitled to do that, Senator Gruenhagen, but the testimony today that you submitted for consideration has to do with the use of the SRIs.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to get at.
And that's all that we're going to focus on with your testimony, please.
Okay. Secondly, I would say that, you know, okay, you don't want me to talk about transgenderism, but
that's correct.
RFK is proposing a ban on guns to transgender.
All right, Senator Gruenhagen, thank you for your testimony.
All right.
We're concluded now with this.
Yeah, we're over-medicating the children. If you want any bipartisan, especially from me, you're going to include this type of information, because this is what's, in my opinion, instigating a lot of this, and we're doing it blindly and giving out like candy to our children. Please care about the children and listen to opposing views. It's a sign of immaturity not to hear opposing views. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Gruenhagen. Members, that concludes the presentations to the committee.
See, that pisses me off. And they don't want to talk about all sides of the issue. And The minute he said transgender, which is the truth, he gets shut down. And if we're going to talk about, this is the thing of it is, right? Because they're not talking about other shootings. They're talking about Annunciation shooting. And the person was transgender. They said they were. So I don't understand of why when people go there, they get butthurt. Because that, I'm not saying that they were brainwashed or any of that, but we need to look at that because a lot of it that came out, there was things of that they didn't want to be. They were tired of being that way. They were tired of being transgender. And I'm not saying that it's okay to be, well, they shouldn't be here or any of that shit. I'm saying that we really need to have a conversation about mental health because a lot of these people are mentally ill. I'm not saying transgenders. I'm saying mass shooters. People that can shoot up children and like Mr. Grughagen said, do it in an area where it's a no-gun zone. So that's what I really want people to look at and see that why are people going into no-gun zone areas and doing mass shootings? Is it because people won't be armed, potentially armed? We really need to think about that because that's mental health. That's not hating somebody. That's say, let's talk about the issues that they were going through because he left a manifesto, whatever you want to call it. She, he, Robin, whatever. Robert, I guess I shouldn't say Robert. Robin and forget what his other name was. But yeah, it's ridiculous. It is so sad to me that, you know, when you bring up something that they don't even have anything to say about what you said about people that the killer hasn't been found, or they automatically want to go, not anything about what you said, but they start to go into your past. That's deflection. That's deflection. That's deflection because there is no killer for Matthew and Red Wing, who was found downtown. There isn't no justice, no accountability for the young man who was killed in last year in October in MCF Red Wing. And there was lots of violations with that. There is no accountability. But then they want, because you're calling that out, you can't be the type of person to even call those type of people out because you have a past. Even though that past was years ago. That's what's wrong with this world. That's what's wrong with this world because people aren't allowed to have opinions anymore. Well, I say, fuck you. Because I'm going to have an opinion. And if I don't agree with you, I don't agree. I don't have to agree with you. I can have my own fucking opinion. And you can have yours. But if I got paperwork that is sitting there telling me this shit is going on, I don't give a fuck what you say. It's just like with the whole thing with Rochester. I did what people don't even understand. And this is what pisses me off because I think I got back a statute, and I'll go over this tomorrow too, but it's statute, I think it was 13.52. And it's like, damn. It's like you sit here and tell me that these things are going on, but because you don't keep no summary of some of this shit and you can't be public with it because it could potentially harm other people that are sitting there, snakes in people's faces, two-faced. People will work with the police and sitting here, be your best fucking friend. I don't get it. And then when you try to get the information, they sit there and tell you that it could potentially put these people in harm's way. So they don't give it out. What is that? What more do you need to fucking know? Like, I really don't get niggas. I really don't, because some of these white people, you don't have to put it in their head because they already know. It's the fact that there's too many people in that community that it happens to, but because we got leaders that say, oh, it's not happening. It's not happening. They go with that shit, even though it's really happening. That's the way America is. That's the way Minnesota really is, especially Rochester. Negroes always asking Caucasians permission. NAACP, CERT, all these motherfuckers, man, I'm telling you right now, this shit, I ain't never seen. I thought the drug and the gangs was bad. Yeah, right. Go into politics. If you want to really see how that the streets is way more safer, then you go in here and go into politics. Go into niggas will try to whack you over your fucking opinion. Niggas will try to do something to you over your own motherfucking opinion. Even though I shouldn't really say it's an opinion because it's factual. If you have paperwork behind it, that's facts. That's not an opinion. I don't even understand that shit. And we've gotten so crazy in America over that shit because white people have, and even some black people have put Charlie Kirk on a pedestal. And most black people, I was out there protesting for George Floyd, but I can say with knowing both sides of the story and like start of 2021, these motherfuckers are hypocrites. They can't look in the mirror. Because I will tell you like this, there was no reason that people should, George Floyd did not deserve to die. Neither did Charlie Kirk. Because Floyd had a family. He had kids. He had brothers and sisters. And yeah, they only came around, a lot of people only came around because they could get some money. They didn't care about George when he was here living. They didn't care that he was out here using drugs. They didn't give a fuck about shit. They don't care about that shit. It's just like with Charlie Kirk. Charlie said a lot of shit that he probably shouldn't. Now we'll never know his context because all we have is some little sound bites or some interviews that he did. And really never really got down to really an answer of why he would feel like that. And some he did. And maybe you can't, I don't know if his thinking has changed. So in my eyes, with the shit that I have seen, to me, he's got negrophobia. Charlie Kirk wasn't trying to go to North Minneapolis or Chicago. The same thing with Scott Pressler. They go to areas that are in rural or I'll say that safe zones. That's where they go. People don't go to the hot spots and try to get voters. They don't try to get out there and have empathetic conversations. That's why, this is why I'm not celebrating Buddy death. But the fact of it is, he was an empathetic person. You know what I'm saying? He might have been a man of God. But he was not, in my eyes, he was not a brother in Christ. Not to me, he wasn't. So let me get into this Trey Reed out of Mississippi. This is about 7 minutes long. And you people are really going to be like, damn, wait, what? And the crazy thing of it is, they not only found Trey Reed, but there was also another hanging in Mississippi. One was white, one was black. So I really want people to see this and just see it's not always just about racism anymore. Because our own people are doing this shit. People that look like us. Doesn't matter if you're white, you're having white on white violence. Because there's a lack of resources. Not because people want to, it's because they don't have opportunities. There's nothing, that's the one crazy thing. A lot of people will tell me, oh, you're just a crybaby. No, it's not. I'm just pointing out facts. I'm pointing out that their policies, it didn't matter if it was Democratic or Republican, it has fucked over the people because it was never about the people. Here's the thing of it is, Royce can talk about we the people all day. He don't mean that shit. I'll be 100% honest. He don't mean that shit. As long as the money there, Royce will be there. Royce is a hungry ass nigga. The same thing with Jonathan Mason. They don't want change because they make money off this shit. They make money off this shit. And I would love, this the thing of it is. And I've already told Professor Penn I would meet him in person and all that, right? But my thing of it is, to me, Royce ain't really who he says he is. Because I will tell you like now, when I first came out of the house after George Floyd, I couldn't really tell, even though he had his own organization, it really didn't come out until probably like Dante Wright, how they really felt about the other, not the people that were out there, you know what I'm saying, the transgenders, and how they felt about, you know, man and woman and shit. That's when you could really tell that them niggas ain't BLM. They ain't nowhere near BLM. So I always, you know, and that's the crazy part, because those are conversations we've never really fucking had. They're never. And I will tell you like this, is that let me just be quiet, man, because people don't even understand this shit sometimes. They want to be all gung-ho in for the cause, but then don't really want all the answers, because they can only see one side. They don't see both sides of the shit. They only see they have that tunnel vision. They don't have mission vision. They got tunnel vision. You know what I'm saying? Because if you got tunnel vision, you're only focused at the goal. You got mission, you're focused at everything. You're focused on everything. You're not focused just on the motherfucking evil on the left. You're focused on the evil on the right as well. And that's, I really feel like, our biggest problem in Minnesota and in America, is that people have tunnel vision, not mission, but tunnel. And that's just like I was talking about last night with, Reverend Tim Christopher, is it, you're going to see in Minnesota, especially in Minneapolis, if Omar Fattah really wins, if he really, really wins, if he wins, do you not know what that's going to do to Minnesota? I can tell you right now, if Fattah wins the mayor race in Minneapolis, Minnesota will never again ever turn red. Never. Because we'll be so far past that there won't be nothing that we can do. And that's where we're getting, because not enough people know the history. They don't know the past. They're focused on the future. So, but how can you go forward in the future if you don't know your past? That's what I really want. I want people to know. Where do you know you're going if you don't know how you're going? Come on. We already got to know. These people, people just don't get it. Because they have tunnel vision. They don't have mission vision. They have tunnel vision.
The campus of Delta State University awoke to a scene of profound tragedy on the morning of September 15, 2025. It was a day that was supposed to be filled with celebration, marking a significant milestone for the institution. A DSU staff member, during their early morning routine, made a heartbreaking discovery around 7:05 a.m. The student was soon identified as 21-year-old Demartravion Trey Reed, a young man from Grenada, Mississippi. Trey Reed was more than just a name in a news report. He was a son, a family member. The initial response from law enforcement was swift and methodical. Officers from the Delta State University Police Department arrived to begin their preliminary investigation. The Bolivar County Coroner's Office was called to the scene, and they officially took custody of Reed's body. This step seeks to provide definitive answers about the cause and manner of death. As word began to spread, a heavy silence fell over the university. What should have been a day of joy was now overshadowed by an unspeakable loss. The community was left to grapple with the sudden and tragic loss of one of its own. Initial reports confirm the student's identity and basic circumstances. The path ahead will be marked by remembrance and the quiet strength of a community learning to navigate sorrow. As they waited for answers and tried to comprehend the loss of Trey Reed, Delta State University Chief of Police Mike Peeler addressed the public, saying that based on initial evidence, investigators did not suspect foul play. This assessment was shared to quell immediate fears of a direct threat. To support campus police, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation was brought in. MBI involvement brings extra resources and expertise for complex death investigations. Their role, an independent, comprehensive review of the evidence. A key component is the autopsy, being conducted by the State Medical Examiner's Office. Deputy Coroner Murray Rourke shared initial observations addressing alarming rumors. He said he saw no evidence of broken limbs or injuries suggesting a physical struggle. The official timeline confirms Trey Reed was found at approximately 7:05 a.m. by a university employee. The police response was immediate and the investigation began promptly. Officials have consistently reiterated the investigation is ongoing, committed to a deliberate, thorough process. They urged patience as they await the medical examiner's conclusive report. This careful approach is intended to ensure final conclusions are based on evidence and facts, providing a solid foundation for understanding this tragic event. Those results are vital to formally determine cause of death. While awaiting findings, the case remains open and under active investigation, pending the full autopsy report. In a decisive and compassionate response, the university administration announced the cancellation of all classes for the day. Classes were canceled, all campus events were also canceled, including the highly anticipated centennial celebrations. The day meant to celebrate a century of achievement was transformed into quiet reflection and grief. Students and faculty processed the devastating news. University President Dr. Dan Ennis quickly stepped forward to lead the campus through this difficult time. He issued a statement expressing the university's collective heartbreak and reassured the community that the campus was safe. He also shared that he had personally spoken with Trey Reed's family to convey condolences. Recognizing the emotional toll, Delta State moved swiftly to provide mental health resources. Counselors and support services were made available immediately to all students, faculty, and staff. These services provided a safe space to process grief, confusion, and anxiety. The university demonstrated care and compassion for all affected by the loss. The closure provided space for law enforcement to conduct their investigation without disruption. But more importantly, it gave the community time and space to grieve together. The focus shifted to supporting one another through shared tragedy. Leadership aimed to restore normalcy, while acknowledging the path forward would require sustained support. Normal operations were expected to resume, but the memory of the day would undoubtedly linger. In the wake of Trey Reed's death, social media platforms quickly became a forum for discussion, speculation, and misinformation. Given the distressing nature of the discovery and historical context of the American South, some online comments immediately framed the event as a potential lynching. This speculation ignited fear, particularly considering Delta State's majority-white student body. These discussions, born from genuine concern, often outpaced official facts. Law enforcement and university officials found themselves
So, yeah, that is the story. There was 2 people found that were white and black that were found murdered yesterday. One, I believe, was early morning, and the other one was about 1 o'clock. There was a white young man found hanging in Mississippi. So people really do need to start paying attention and knowing your surroundings, because it's a dangerous ass world out there. I'm going to be honest. It's crazy as hell. And I want to get into Minneapolis now. And I want to get into starting. Today is Tuesday. So all the stories I have from you are both Monday and Tuesday in Minneapolis. And I want to get into the first story. And that's on Sunday. There was 2 people found dead. One was Miss Raya over in North Minneapolis on Russell. And this is, I'm going to be honest, this hurts. I didn't know her, but this hurts because a lady called out for help and nobody really listened. The authorities, they didn't listen because, first of all, she was black and poor. In their eyes, because of the area that she lives in. So they didn't care. They didn't care that, she had posted on Facebook earlier, or they didn't care about a couple weeks ago that she got a restraining order. They didn't care because she wasn't a stakeholder. She could complain about the police. Nobody would have listened. Nobody wanted to do anything. And now, even me, I'll be honest, I didn't know who she was before Sunday. But I would have done something. I'm going to be honest. And I think more people, we need to stop going to the authorities who we know aren't going to do shit. I'm going to be honest. We need to stop going to people for help who we know aren't going to help. I'm going to be honest here. Because every time we expect something, we're always feeling sad feeling angry because it never pans out. Every time people go to the authorities, it never pans out. Especially if you're from the black community. So let's get into that story on Sunday about Miss Raya.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Brett Hoffland.
And I'm Kirsten Swanson. Tonight, Minneapolis is dealing with another violent weekend. Family members are mourning the loss of 34-year-old Raya Samuels after she was shot and killed in front of her home this morning.
Police are still searching for the suspect, but investigators believe it was domestic related.
Brittany Herman is live in Minneapolis after hearing from the family of the victim. Brittany?
Kirsten and Brett, family members tell me the victim posted on Facebook saying she was being stalked and she needed help hours before she was killed. Family members tell me this could have been prevented.
My niece was gunned down by a violent ex-boyfriend that she put a restraining order on.
Raya Samuels walked outside her home around 8 o'clock Sunday morning. In a split second, everything changed.
And he ambushed her and shot her not 5 times, but 10 times, right here in front of her house. Oh, my niece.
Her family says she tried to jump in her car to get away, but the suspect shot and killed her. It happened near the intersection of Russell Avenue North and 14th Avenue. Minneapolis police believes the shooting was a domestic incident.
My niece is a beautiful, vibrant, stuck to herself, always make sure she was a dog groomer.
Samuels just turned 34 years old last month. Her family celebrated her birthday with her 2 children. Now they're planning her funeral.
It's unbelievable that she was just the last person that should have ever happened to.
Family members believe Samuel's ex-boyfriend is responsible for the killing. Her aunt says Samuels filed a restraining order against him.
Mariah will be the 4th woman in our family that was murdered by someone that said that they loved them.
The family is pushing for change, calling for more resources to protect domestic violence victims.
Believe the red flags. Do not underestimate. Do not think he won't do it to me.
Right.
Call the police. If the police are not doing anything, go above and beyond. Protect yourselves at all costs.
And Minneapolis police says the suspect ran off before they got to the scene. No arrests have been made at this time. Now, the victim's children are now without their mother. There's a fundraiser to help them through that transition. If you'd like to help, those details are on our website, ksdp.com. Live in Minneapolis, Brittany Ehrman, Eyewitness News on 45.
All right, Brittany, thank you. And if you or someone you know is experiencing abuse from a partner, several resources are available.
Yeah, man, please reach out. Like they said, that is the 7th case. Wow. That I can just tell you, I want to go more into that story. And I have another video and they explain it to you more. And I'm going to show you just a trigger warning. I want people to see this, to be honest, because I want people to see how hard it is when you're when you're black and nobody cares. It's when you're poor and they don't want to do the right thing and help you.
The family of a Minneapolis woman killed in front of her home Sunday morning wants accountability.
34-year-old Mariah Samuels was a victim of domestic violence, and her family confirms the man in custody, David Wright, is an ex-boyfriend.
Brittany Ehrman is live in Minneapolis with words from the family. Brittany.
Well, Lindsay and Kevin, the family tells me the victim went to law enforcement, the courts, even Facebook trying to get help, but it didn't work. Now the family is asking why.
And I feel like the system failed us.
The family of Mariah Samuels demanding answers.
We asked for the police more than one time to help this domestic situation, and she was ambushed.
Her family says ex-boyfriend David Wright, booked in the Hennepin County Jail on a murder charge, is responsible. Court documents show Samuels filed for an order for protection less than 3 weeks ago after she says Wright attacked her and put a gun to her head. She wrote, "I was extremely fearful of the respondent and take his threats seriously." A judge issued an emergency protection order and it was served to Wright within 3 days. How does a woman experiencing domestic violence file for order for protection, call authorities numerous times, and still end up losing her life?
She did everything that she could, and somebody else made a choice to hurt her. What are we doing in order to help people make different choices? Right?
Amarthini Keefe with the Domestic Abuse Project says there are gaps in the system.
We know that it's not just an individual problem, it's a systems issue, both in community and in their family system. And we want to be able to identify those gaps and try to come up with solutions.
Keefe suggests more funding, collaboration across departments, and preventative services could save a life.
I think something that's so important for us to grapple with and to understand is that it cannot be on a victim alone.
And I reached out to Minneapolis police to see what the policies and procedures are when it comes to responding to domestic calls, to see if there's anything else they could have done. I'm still waiting on a response.
Well,
now, the family is fundraising for those 2 kids that are now without their mother. If you'd like to help, those details are on our website, kscp.com. Live in Minneapolis.
I'll post that later in the comments. But I want to show you something. Just a trigger warning, because I want people to see.
That's £200 off for a family of 4.
I don't want to play the video. I mean, not the music. I don't want behind it, but I want people to see. I want people to see. And we need to do better. As I'm gonna be honest, this shouldn't have happened. This could have been prevented. I'm gonna be honest. This could have been prevented, and in my eyes, people don't want to do nothing. And it's sad because people lose their lives over it. People lose their lives, and I'm going to be honest, it's so fucking sad. Excuse my language, but it is. And it gets tiring. Because how much more do we have to go through? 2 people died on Sunday. Monday, there was a mass shooting in the morning over on Lake Street. Last night, there was 8 at an encampment. And then in Brooklyn Park, there was 2. Come on, we got to do better. That's over, let's see, 15 people. We have to do better. From 3 situations, that's 15 people. We got to do better. We have to do better. We have to, when we see something, it ain't even say something anymore. It's fucking do something. Stop fucking recording. Because it's the same thing with the mass shooting on Lake Street. It was captured on camera. It was captured on camera from the DOT cameras. What a lot of people don't know, there's a lot of cameras, DOT, shot spotters. Because you know what's crazy is that when that incident happened with Raya Samuelson, Crime Watch in Minneapolis, there's I might still have it. Let me see if I can go find it. But they put out the shot spotter audio, and you could automatically tell that it was worse than what they were saying. And it's like, why? It just makes the police, in my eyes, look like a lot of bitches. And I hate to say that. I really do. I hate to say that. But that's the way that, wow. Yeah, I'll play that too. Damn, they got them. I will say this, and I hate it that Minneapolis is becoming so, that they don't want to do nothing. Oh, well, they voted for this. Okay, I understand that not everybody voted. Damn. Not everybody voted for that. Not everybody. Because some people voted to keep others safe, to make sure that other people were safe. And I really honestly don't feel like that's something that they cared about. Okay, let's see. Almost there. Yeah. Okay, yeah, So here's Sunday morning, North Minneapolis before 8 a.m. And then Transparency Matters put out the audio. That sounds like execution. That's somebody that they couldn't love. They couldn't have loved the person. How do you hurt somebody that you love? And I will never understand that. Why? Because even my own mother went through that. Oh, I love you, Debbie. I love you, Deborah. You don't love somebody when you beat them. That's not love. That's hate. And we need to do more. That's for every man and woman in this country. We need to do more as people. So I'm going to get into this yesterday mass shooting on Lake Street.
In the wake of yet another mass shooting in Minneapolis tonight, police are looking for whoever opened fire at a transit station in broad daylight, injuring 5 people. The shooting started just after 11 a.m. near Lake Street and Stevens Avenue, right next to the I-35 and Lake Street Metro Transit Station. Heidi Wigdahl joins us live from the 3rd Precinct with the latest. Heidi?
Yeah, as you mentioned, police say no arrests have been made at this time. MPD Chief Brian O'Hara says just last week he held a meeting regarding issues in this area. Now the city has announced steps they're taking to address the problems.
Around the Lake Street Transit Station, Monday morning quickly turned to chaos.
I heard the gunshots when I pulled up and people were scattering around.
Minneapolis police say 5 men were injured, one of them seriously hurt.
It was pretty bad. I was walking up here and my friend, he was hitting the head and he was on the ground and it was just, yeah.
Minneapolis police say a few dozen shots were fired, with shell casings found in 2 different locations. Officers found a majority of them on the Midtown Greenway, but more casings were found closer to the walkway near the Lake Street Transit Station. 4 men were taken to nearby hospitals, one with life-threatening injuries. A 5th man was later identified with a graze wound, but refused medical aid.
This walkway has been terrible, as I'm sure anyone who lives down here or has been through here can tell you.
Yeah, see deals every day, right on our front step. Somebody will come sit down, do their deals.
Alan Tousley works nearby and says while there's not an encampment here, people are gathering in the area 24/7.
As soon as they're done with the cleanup, everybody just kind of starts to filter back in.
MPD Chief Brian O'Hara says this area has been a hotspot for crime, including August 22nd when 2 men were shot near this intersection.
For whatever reason, whether it's the layout here, the transit center right next to it, the way the businesses are, it's obvious that this particular location is different from others in the city in terms of crime.
In response, Mayor Jacob Fry has directed city staff to work with MnDOT to fence off the area as soon as possible. The mayor is also asking the state to provide resources to support MPD in South Minneapolis, quote, specifically targeting those driving violent crime while ensuring people struggling with addiction continue to receive the help they need.
Chief O'Hara says the issues go beyond that immediate area. Just last month, a mass shooting happened less than half a mile away, and that one injured 6 people and killed 1. Back to you.
You know, and that's crazy. So I wanted last night around 10 p.m., you had another one. You had another mass shooting where 8 people in an encampment. And I still don't understand why people still don't care. I don't get it. Why don't people still care? Because you gotta have to start caring. It's not say something, because when we say something, it doesn't help. So let's see something, do something, not say something, because we always see that people end up dying in that situation.
We are following a developing story this morning as police remain on the scene of a mass shooting at a homeless encampment in Minneapolis.
Police say 8 people are hurt at this point, 4 of them with life-threatening injuries, and the city says it will clear out that encampment as soon as possible. Saquon joins us live there from the scene with the very latest. Good morning, Say.
Hey, good morning to you. Yeah, we're at this homeless encampment right now, and this is how active it is even hours after that shooting. I'll step out of the way so you can see for yourself. This whole area by the encampment here is blocked off by police. You can see, of course, police officers still on scene this morning. The forensic team right now is collecting evidence, and once they're done with that, the city's going to send in some crews to shut down this area for good. Keep in mind, this has been another busy day for Minneapolis police, with this shooting happening just 12 hours after another shooting just blocks away where 5 other people were hurt.
I know it's been a lot of violence lately, and we just want our community to know that we are not going to give up, and that we will continue to fight so that every person in this city can be safe.
The shooting at this encampment happened just after 10 o'clock last night near 28th and East Lake Street in the Longfellow neighborhood. It's unclear at this point what led up to the gunfire, but police say they believe it was a shootout between at least 2 people. Police say 5 men and 3 women were shot. 3 of the men and 1 woman have life-threatening injuries. The other 4 victims are expected to survive. We also know some tents started on fire after the shooting, and firefighters were also called in to put out these flames. The mayor says this particular encampment has been the site of many issues over the years and will be cleared out.
We have tried to clear this encampment on multiple occasions. We were met with resistance by the property owner. It made it very difficult, both from a practical as well as a legal perspective. And so ultimately we moved forward with a public health nuisance order. And that is the litigation that is moving forward now. And
This encampment is on land owned by a man named Hamoudi Sabri, who, as the mayor mentioned there, has refused to shut it down for months, leading to a lawsuit from the city. So far, no arrests have been made. We are still working to learn exactly when this encampment will be cleared out today. We do know, according to the mayor, that this will be cleared out once the investigation is over. We'll be here all morning. And
damn. So we gotta do something, people. We literally have to do something. And I don't get it. I don't know what it's going to take for people to take it serious. To take that crime isn't down. It's just defined differently. Violence isn't down. They quit keeping the stats. Like, we have to be real with ourselves. There's a lot of things that are happening today that I feel like a lot of people could have stepped up and said something. But instead, they chose to get money. As long as their families weren't getting screwed over. You know, it reminds me of the Jeffersons. You know, they lived in a building, but still weren't. People didn't accept him. They didn't accept George. They didn't accept George because he was a successful black man. They still look down on it. I don't care what people say about the Jeffersons. I watched that and I'm like, damn, I know how that feels. Because even though you're not a black man or a white man that's out committing crimes anymore, and they want to be a solution instead of being the problem, people don't like that. They don't like niggas that call each other out, that hold others accountable, because we became a world that doesn't like accountability. They want unity, but they never want to talk about how do we get there, because you got to be accountable first. Before we can ever get to accountability, before we can ever get to unity, we got to be accountable. People have to start being responsible, because we have a lot of injustice, not only in Minnesota, but also the world. I'm going to be honest. It's all over. I even see this Charlie Kirk shit, and I hate bringing that up, but that's a very good point of how you have certain people in politics that look one way, but when it happens, that's why I say, like, some of this shit is like gang life. Because you weren't celebrating when your op died. You were celebrating when your op died. And then when some of your people died, you'd be hurtful. You'd be hurt. You'd want that payback. You'd want that eye for an eye. They made you bleed, so we're gonna make them bleed. That's exactly the same way. But now it's Democrats, Democratic Socialists of America, Republicans, left, right, or far right Republicans, MAGA. Because to me, honestly, to me, Republicans nowadays aren't conservative. They don't have conservative values. You can love somebody that's gay. You can love somebody that is No, I'm gonna take that back because then it's not really. We shouldn't be judging. So I will take that back because only God judges, and we understand that there is some things that God found as abomination, or God found as a sin when it came to either the 10 Commandments. But I will tell you right now is that when it came down to America, America was started on hate. America was started because they were tired of being oppressed. And not only they were tired of being oppressed, but they had slaves. They had slaves. So they didn't want to sit here and taxed, but then there would be no representation because it was another country. So that's why we had the Boston Tea Party. That's why you know Paul Revere's name. The redcoats are coming. The redcoats are coming. What is it any different from nowadays? Enough people do not know history. That's why it keeps on repeating itself. Emmett Till. You know, way before Emmett did. Well, let's see. What year did Emmett die? I'll have to look that up. But Willie Francis. And I talk about that because not only is that an injustice that happened, but that was a family member. Willie would have been my uncle. But yet I learned a story in high school in my younger years and didn't even know that was family. Because I will tell you right now is that when I was growing up, I didn't really get to know either mine. I knew my mom's side, you know, my grandparents, my grandma, my granddad. I knew my aunts, my uncles on that side. But when it came to my dad's side, I really didn't know nobody. I went out there when I was a bit, but I don't remember being out there. I don't remember driving in no car, and I didn't even I guess I didn't even have a car seat then. And it's like, damn, wait, what? I drove that far in no car seat, and you didn't get pulled over? No, they didn't have those laws. And I'm not saying we haven't grown, and when we know better, we do better. And I feel like that's how we've always done. But there's been a point where we stopped caring about that because we had tunnel vision, because we were focused on one thing. We're not focused on the betterness of everyone, because we want to make sure that goodness is there, because we have tunnel vision. Not that people have mission where you see the whole field, but you have tunnel. You can't see the whole field. All you can see is that you want to get to that light at the end of the tunnel. That's it. And I can really tell that we really don't care about that shit anymore in America. We don't. We don't. And I'll be honest right here, right? Is people have skeletons in their closet that they don't want to talk about. But we have to make people talk about it, because how do you know if they've changed or not from that old behavior? Right? I talk about it enough in my past when it came to my sex case when I was a young adult. They call me a child molester, a predator. That's what everybody's got, labels for everybody nowadays. I don't care about. I know people that love me. I know people that are loyal to me. They don't say those type of things. And then when they hear people say those types of things, they stick up. I don't care about. That's the one thing I can say about certain people, is that they won't let people drag my name. They won't let. And here's the crazy thing: if they didn't say nothing, those people will come back to me and tell me. So then I really don't even fuck with the other motherfuckers, because I can already tell that niggas will smile in your face and talk all kind of shit behind your back. But that's the way America is. That's the way to be honest, I feel like we've grown up and it's only gotten out of hand. You know, what happens in the house stays in the house. Why do you think so much child molestation has gone on over the years? Because people had those values. Well, I seen something, but I ain't gonna say nothing because I don't want to be no snitch. How are you a snitch if you're not a part of the crime? You seen bad being done. So isn't the right thing to do is to say something? Because two wrongs don't make a right. We have to hold people accountable. We have to hold people responsible, because if you don't, this is the type of behavior that we're seeing. You get the Kia kids, the Kia boys, whatever they want to call themselves. That wasn't going on when I was younger. You know why? Because we had a judicial system that scared people. If you fucked up, you know you was going to jail for a very long time in some cases. You know what's crazy is, I think this is like 97, but I was in Olmsted County, and there was a guy down there who, and I still laugh about it today, because to me it was, he went to prison over 50 cents. Over 50 cents. Because he robbed somebody and that's all they had. They only had 50 cents in their pocket. Nothing more. They only had 50 fucking cents. You know how much time he got? 48 months in prison for 50 fucking cents. For 50 cents. But I see people out here doing things to kids and they don't even see a fucking jail cell. They don't even see a jail cell. They don't see a prison cell. Because we just slap hands now. We don't believe in my eyes, we do not believe in accountability no more. So that's why you definitely don't see no unity. Because we don't see any accountability. We don't hold people responsible for their actions. Because we've made it where we'll make laws and amendments and ordinances to be lenient on people. It's like, you know, one thing that I want to bring up is, we have like the No Child Left Behind. That's federal. We have a sanctuary state in Minnesota, but you can't be therapeutic. They call it gay conversion therapy. And I think we need to change what that's called, because I think people have, I'm not saying that it's a mental health, being trans or, you know, being gender fluid. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that people should be able to go to a therapist and be able to talk to that person openly without fear of repercussions or consequences, because we have some dumbass laws that, oh, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do this. Why? Why don't we get rid of that red tape so people actually can do solutions instead of having to keep on going through the red tape just so we can get somewhere? Because I'll tell you, most of the time we don't, because there's so much red tape. So, and the way the world is today, we have short attention spans. That's why, you know, when it comes to my Uncle Willie Francis, got the death chair, not once, but twice. Isn't that double jeopardy? You tried to kill a man. He was supposed to die and he lived because of your fuck ups, because of the states. And they still, you know, that's what I don't get. That's, to me, that's in like double jeopardy. You know, I really just don't get it. And I think that happens in a lot of situations. You know, I could talk about Willie Francis or George Stinney or Emmett Till, Rodney King, Tamir Rice. There's so many stories of lynchings or people that were killed because, not because of how tall they are, not because they were a good fighter, not because they were black or they were white, and people were scared of how they talked. I wasn't scared of how Charlie talked, because to me, Charlie wasn't racist how most white people are in America. They're not racist. They just have negrophobia because they don't have an understanding of that culture that they come to the streets. That's what the whole thing, even when it comes down to black people, you have people that are poor and you have others like here's the one thing. I think this is a prime example in the rap industry. If people don't remember Young Berg, he was from Chicago. He had some big hits, but he was always getting beat up and robbed and all this shit. So he got out of the rap game and started to become a producer, and his name is Hitmaker. What's he doing? He gave up that thuggish, rugged lifestyle because that wasn't him. The same thing with Chameleonaire. That wasn't them. They're not them street type ass niggas. And that's no disrespect because they have the mind up here for business. They have the mind up here to be an entrepreneur. And they know that their brain can get them further than any kind of a talent that is God-given, but also can be taken away. And it's the same thing when it comes to that power up here. It can be taken away, but only if you're scared of it being taken away. Because I would tell you like this, is that Malcolm X got up there knowing that he had a target on his back. And the same thing with Charlie Kirk, because he had to know that he had a target on his back, because there would have been no way he was wearing a bulletproof vest if he didn't. So being controversial and open-minded about, not, I won't even say open-minded, because I want to show you something, right? And Charleston White reshared this, and I thought it was kind of funny, right? But he was riding around Miami saying fuck Charlie Kirk. And so I'm like, wait, you know, Charlie Kirk was killed. He can't be doing this because, yeah, he did George Floyd and, you know, smoking on Tuka and some other shit like Vaughn. And I shouldn't even say he was against the smoking on Tuka thing, but even like with Vaughn, but he was very vocal about George Floyd. And here's the thing of it is that he's being vocal about Charlie Kirk. I don't believe you can do that because he is going to put a target on his back where people are okay with him talking about George Floyd. But the minute he started talking about Charlie, is that white people didn't like Charleston anymore. They didn't like his opinions anymore because of the fact that he came out against Charlie Kirk, right? So I said white people will attempt to do something to Charleston. So if they can't kill him, they can put him behind a cage. They didn't care about what he was doing when he was saying about George Floyd. So watch this. I need to hit play.
Killed by his own kind. I just want to remind you, Charlie Kirk was killed by his own kind. They can't, but what the fuck can they say? He was taken out by his own lily white babies. We got Y ends, y'all got W ends. Boy, y'all W ends is a motherfucker. Say, man, y'all smiling too much to be police. One of them got to go to jail. Even the police happen to see me, motherfucker. Look, even police, man, that's Charleston White. Nigga, yeah, y'all want to make people believe don't nobody like me. Man, y'all got the world fucked up. Internet hateful ass white people. We having fun and living life. Don't nobody give a damn about Kirk but y'all. You getting like Umar Johnson, pushing hate. So, bitch. Yeah, but when I was pushing it toward black people, I know it wasn't hate. When I was pushing hate toward black people, fuck the rapper for now. Now it's on y'all. Now, you getting like Umar Johnson. I don't give a fuck what I'm like. I just got paid $20,000 for saying fuck Kirk. Charlie Kirk was killed by his own kind. He wasn't killed by a nigger. He was not killed by a nigger. He was killed by his fucking own kind. They thought a nigger was gonna kill him. Say, he talked that black on black crime, got killed by his own kind. Get in, baby. Hurry up for these white people get mad. Hurry up, baby. Nah, she with me, big dog. I got her. yeah, nah, this mine here, big dog. I ought to see the look on these white people's faces. A crazy nigga, a runaway slave that they can't get. Django. Put your seatbelt on, baby, because them niggas thought you by yourself. Give a fuck about no white boy being killed by no young white boy. Man, please, they all that military protection. Man, this motherfucker got killed by a gummy bear. Yeah, this motherfucker got killed by a teddy bear. White boy. No, oh, he had to been somebody now. He been playing Call of Duty all his life. You think that Call of Duty shooting motherfucker can't shoot for real? Don't they use assimilation training? Don't the military use assimilation training? Come on now. Don't let these motherfuckers fool y'all and trick y'all thinking that white boy ain't equipped. Shit, they got Lil Ron fucked up. they got Lil Ron fucked up. They thought it was gonna be Ali, Muhammad, Akbar, Jihad. No, it was Lil Ronnie. They thought Akbar, Jihad, Muhammad was gonna do it. No, Lil Ronnie. And he walked smooth down there. He was limping with that motherfucking rifle stuck in his leg. Smooth little old white boy. He probably like NBA YoungBoy. In Utah, I bet he like NBA YoungBoy. I ain't making it to next year. They say it every year. Every year somebody get online and said I won't make it to 2020 something. Right. When I said fuck Nipsey Hussle, when I said fuck George Bush mama. Every year they get on her and say he ain't gonna make it to certain. Okay, we all ain't guaranteed to make it. No, tomorrow's not promised to nobody. Right. Not even Charlie Kirk. They thought Charlie Kirk was gonna make it to be president one day. He did not make it. I'm living for today, and today is lovely. The sun is shining. Charlie Kirk is dead. I'm breathing. She just got off her period. Man, I went to the doctor. We got that motherfucker glutathione shot. I got a teenager dick. Yeah. I got a teenager dick that gets hard unexpectedly.
This nigga's stupid. Oh my God! But I really do believe, like he said, is that. You know, people say it every year that we praying for you. You probably be dead by the end of the year. But this is something that he does. He garners attention because of how he talks. And now, because he was talking about a certain population, they're getting mad at him. I just want to show you how the world is so hypocritical. Because when you start talking about the white man, then they get in their feeling. I'm not saying that it's everybody, but it's a lot of people. Because, you know, just like Yard Dog, he's not worth the time. Have no idea who this retard weed smoker is. Like, we have no idea who Charlie Kirk was besides talking about black people. Nice deflection. Go rob a liquor store, Tyrone. How, you know, what the crazy thing of it is, instead of asking me how or why I thought that, I will be straight up honest. I didn't know who the fuck Charlie Kirk was, besides the fact that I was getting sound bites or interviews that he was on podcast. Otherwise, I didn't know who he was. I'm not going to celebrate his death, but I'm also not going to mourn. I'm not going to feel bad because people die every day, B. I'm being just straight up for real. I don't agree with Charleston on everything either. But see, just like I told the dude, Yard Dog, LOL, you have nigrophobia, just like Charlie Kirk did. I don't think Charlie was racist. Charlie just didn't understand the street black man. He understood the people that we call coon or Sambos but he didn't understand street niggas. And you know what's crazy is that people could have been out here doing them, and Charlie Kirk would have thought they were pieces of shit, and they're still here defending them. They're still here defending them because they believe that Charlie would have liked them. There's a lot of black people that are sticking up for Charlie, but I will tell you right now is that Charlie wouldn't have liked a lot of street black niggas. He likes the uppity ass black niggas. He liked the uppity black niggas. That doesn't make him racist. It makes him not understanding the plight that the black man has gone through, or even the black women, because he was disgraceful to black women, and that's how Candace Owens. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn. Right. I said, LOL, you have nigrophobia. I called him out. I don't commit crimes or selling drugs. And people don't understand that, but they call us the bad people. They call us the bad people that are trying to stop this shit from going on in our neighborhoods. They call us the problem. We're not, they don't call us the solution. They call us the problem because some people don't have perfect pasts. Some people have crimes that they like to call pedophiles, but they don't even know how to, because certain crimes are the way that they, especially when it comes down to the criminal sexual shit, right? It's, in my eyes, it was never labeled right. I'm going to be honest, because people could look at my third-degree sex charge and with the age on it and never even know that the girl was only a couple months under 16 and I was just a senior in high school, but I was over the fact of that I was 19 and she was not 16. I didn't rape no girl. I'm not saying what I did was right, because I've always said that, listen, I had a consensual relationship, but in Minnesota's eyes, they saw it as unconsensual because she couldn't say yes to sex. So there is nothing that, but I'm not a raper. I'm not somebody that, I've never raped no woman. I've never done anything like that. And I've always stood up for Black women. I've always stood up for children. Even when people want to call me a child molester or a rapist, but when people are doing shit in our neighborhoods, in our communities, I don't see them talking about it. I don't see them talking about Abdul Wright. I don't see them talking about Aaron Henderson. They were both from Harvest Best Harvest, whatever the hell it's called, a private school. And you know why they preyed on kids at that Black private school? Is because the city, our government, our judicial system doesn't give a fuck about them. That's why they could, that school was a candy store to them, because they could do whatever they wanted to and people would protect them. Eric Mahmoud would protect them. And yet his wife, I don't even get that shit. It shouldn't even be open. It shouldn't. And just like I was talking about with Rab last night, look at Minnesota schools. Look at Minnesota schools, and then look at the communities inside them areas. And then you tell me why we have such a bad education system, but not just a bad education system. We have a bad administration as well, too. Because it all goes together. You can't have a good education system if you have a fucked up mayor, if you have a fucked up city council, and because they go together. That's what people don't want to talk about. That's what people don't want to talk about. And it's so fucked up. It's even now, right? People want to get involved because that big ass Google data center, I know they bought 452 acres out in Pine Island to put this data center. And they said it'll be done before I think it's 2030 is when they said it would be done. But I just want people to really look, because people should really get the clues. Is the population should be almost 250,000 people in Rochester. We're at, I believe Rochester right now is at 150. But just the fact that 100,000, they're expecting over 100,000 people. It's already 2025. So, but by 2030, you're going to see Rochester blossom. We're already the third biggest city. Rochester is. Minneapolis and St. Paul are the biggest. Then goes Rochester. So Rochester will not be the same by 2030. I'm going to be honest. When you look at the Mayo Clinic's 2030 plan, downtown Rochester will not look the same. Nowhere near it, it'll look the same. Go all the way down to 7th Street Northwest, on Broadway. That won't be the same either. All the North Star Bar will be gone. Cheap Charlie's one of the greatest in my eyes, because I've always ate there since I moved there to Rochester, was Cheap Charlie's. It didn't matter if it was downtown at their restaurant in the food court, or if I went to the actual restaurant. I love Cheap Charlie's. The same thing with y'all had Sonic. We had Snappy. See, so I love Snappy, but I don't like it now because in my eyes, I feel like the qualities went way down. But But growing up, I shouldn't say growing up, but like when I moved to Rochester, man, I used to love Snappy Burger. My mom still eats there. And Hunan's, the little Chinese restaurant. But I will tell you that most places aren't here anymore. And they're not here for a reason, even though they had a big following. People always ate there. Because I will tell you, it didn't matter if you went to Golden Corral, it was always busy. Didn't matter if you went to the Old Country Buffet, it was always busy. But when you have management teams that are fuck ups, that are no good for your business, what do you think happens? It's the same thing with Target. They're going to start losing their shit. Same thing with Walmart, Cub, Aldi's. If you have employees that don't care about your company, they're just there for a paycheck because of how you act as a CEO or how you act as an owner of a business, I'm going to tell you like this. You'll be fucked up. Even with the school boards, the unions, it's all going to end up being that way. So I want to talk about the special election before I get up out of here. And 34, I think it's 34B in Melissa Hortman's seat. And I want to play that because today is, so get out and vote if you live in 34B, I believe it is. Get out there and vote because it does matter. Even though I believe in my heart, let me get into this. So here goes Melissa Hortman.
The polls are now open in the North Metro this morning, where today voters will choose a representative to fill late Representative Melissa Hortman's seat.
So this special election will decide the balance of power in the State House. Bill Keller is live in a polling place in Brooklyn Park. And Bill, have we seen a steady stream going in? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. We have. In fact, the polls opened about an hour ago. It has been busy with a steady stream of voters heading in to cast their ballots to decide who will represent District 34B, covering parts of Brooklyn Park, Champlin, and Coon Rapids. In fact, today's special election comes 3 months after Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark were killed in a politically motivated assassination. And the winner of today's special election will waste no time getting to work as Governor Tim Walz looks to call a special session in an effort to try and pass a comprehensive package of gun safety laws. But Walz says he was not going to call lawmakers back until after Melissa Hortman's seat was filled. And because of the way she died, political science make that political violence is top of mind as voters head to the polls.
So many deaths have happened, like in results to like gun violence and things like that. You kind of always ask yourself, like, when is it going to be enough in order to like see some reform in that area?
I really have no expectation that anything is going to change about gun or political violence. I think it's going to get worse. I mean, just look at the last assassination that we had. I mean, regardless of your political leanings, the fact that assassination is now a solution is probably a bad thing.
Yeah, as for who is on the ballot, Democrat XP Lee won the special primary last month, so he is a Democratic candidate. The DFL party voters will choose between Lee, a former Brooklyn Park City Council member, and Republican Ruth Bittner, a real estate agent seeking public office for the very first time. Now, if Lee does win, the Minnesota House would remain tied at 67-67, Democrats to Republicans. The polls will remain open until 8 p.m., and it will be interesting to see how voter turnout is. It already looks to be much busier than last month's special primary, and election officials tell me.
Yeah, that's crazy because I will tell
City
you that,
Council member, and
I want to put this up for a minute because you have the choice of either XP Lee or Ruth Bittner. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This seat is important. It is very, very, very important. I don't know who Ruth Bittner is, but I think for the sake of Minnesota, people should go with Ruth Bittner because I think we're on the edge. And just like I told Rev last night, is I think they're going to get one Republican or even two in the House. I know people are like, oh, no, they're not. I'm going to hold motherfuckers to that too. Even just like and I hope he holds it to me too because I will give him the money, $10. But I do feel that you're going to see some type of new gun laws in Minnesota, especially if XP Lee wins tonight. That is straight up the answer. I mean, not the answer, but that's going to think their solution, because they'll have back the house or to be tied or whatever. But I actually do believe if XP Lee wins, because they've always said that but Walls has always said that he was going to wait for a special session after this election. So I think they're banking on the fact that they will win this seat, and I don't believe it'll be that easy. So I'll talk about this tomorrow as well too. But so I want to get up out of here. It's been a long day. Not sure it ain't really been that long, but this is Don Tripp Rescue, and I will see y'all back tomorrow, same time, same place. And just remember, be thoughtful, because we can change America, but it depends on our egos, on our personality, and can we put some shit aside to make America better? So with that being said, I'm going to get up out of here. Here's Don Tripp with Rescue, and I will see you same time, same place tomorrow.
Although it is a hard pill to swallow, here we go. Ain't nobody running to your rescue. You gotta get out here and go get it, can't make no excuse. Niggas was hating, stunning they faces so they know it's you. They bet against you, make them regret it. Some people ain't ever gonna wish you well, it's because they jealous. I'm so sorry, Kayla. You needed brothers, but me and Rick were just two broken boys. We never figured our harsh words would leave open sores. We was just kids. We ain't look out for our baby sister. Mama was always working. We felt like your babysitters. We ain't got time to look after you. We try and run the streets. We looked up to drug dealers. You looked up to me and P. And we was too young to see. We never peeped it out. We was just trying to find us a way out of Keela's house. Mama put us out just to be with Malcolm. I was only 17. I had to leave without you. When we was kids, I never told you that I love you. Now I'm trying to be a better big brother, in case you needed rescue. I should've ran to your rescue. I wish I came to your rescue. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Me, Piff, and Malcolm were high school friends. And we used to kick the shit for days on end. We would cut class and go politic with bitches. Me, Rick, Malcolm, and our other homie Richard. My mama like they mama, even called ourselves brothers. Then one day I came home to find Mom and Malcolm fucking. And we was still in school. That nigga Malcolm bragged to every nigga in the school. I finally snapped and tried to whack the nigga. Then mama kicked me out her house so she can be happy with him. But he was 18, so I guess that make everything alright. And she deserves a life, right? Right.